Genesis chapter 32. Let me give you the big picture here to figure. This is going to be a little controversial tonight. Not that I try to be controversial, but lady die. The Bible says God made Adam about 6,000 years ago. If you add up the dates, you get 6,000. There was a big flood about 4,400 years ago. Noah and his family survived on the boat. After the flood, you got several generations, and then you get down to a guy named Abraham, who was born a couple hundred years after the flood. So the population of the earth would have been pretty low still, I would think. And then you got Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So God calls Abram at the time, said, I want you to leave your country, leave your family, he didn't do it, and come to the promised land. And he made it halfway and stopped in Haran, which means delay. He was delayed, but he finally got down here to this little tiny country of Egypt. Most people don't, Israel, most people don't realize how small Israel is. It talks about from Dan to Beersheba, from the top of Israel to the bottom. Israel is 8,019 square miles. The United States is 3.5 million square miles. Israel would fit in the United States 440 times. There is Israel if it was superimposed on top of Texas. And the whole world's fighting over that little tiny country, 8,000 square miles. There's probably Texans got a ranch that big. I should have looked up how big the King Ranch is. I bet it's big, okay? Anyway, so Abraham, you got to get that guy's name for a bunch of the history of the Bible. Then Isaac, his son, he's the guy that was trying to drill the wells and he got pushed out of Gerar, finally settled in Beersheba, which is still part of Israel today. And then you got Jacob. He had to flee from his brother, which is the story we're in now. He tricked his brother out of everything. He had to flee up to Haran to find a wife. He's been up here in Haran now, and he's ended up with 4 wives and 12 kids. Well, yeah, 12 kids, 11 boys and 1 girl. He's going to have boy number 12 here soon in the next chapter. But he's up in Haran taking care of sheep for his trickster father-in-law. Of course, these guys deserve each other, you know. He's a trickster himself. So just remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now God's going to change his name to Israel. Same guy, different name, actually totally different personality. And he has the 12 tribes of Israel. We'll be covering that. So Jacob is on his way back home with a bunch of his kids, all little bitty kids, you know, probably all under 12, and a bunch of sheep. And his father-in-law overtook him right about here, someplace in the Mount of Gilead, and they had a big conference in the last chapter, and God said, don't say nothing to that. That's my boy. Don't say nothing to him. Just shut up. And so he wanted so bad to get, but he's afraid of God. Okay, so he didn't do anything. So, chapter 32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. Remember that same thing happened to Abraham, met some angels of God. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. Mahanaim is right here. Jacob's on his way down to the land of Edom. His brother is down there, the Edomites. Okay, they're mentioned all through the Bible. His brother that he tricked, and his brother is, well, 20 years ago, he was really, really upset. He stole everything from him. Remember, he pulled the wool over his dad's eyes and all that kind of stuff. So he really doesn't want to meet his brother, but he knows the brother's going to hear about him coming. So, and Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Send some messengers, might as well go find him, and let's see where he's at. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau, thy servant Jacob saith thus. He's humbling himself here. Tell him he's boss, I'm the servant, he's the Lord. I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants and women servants, and I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. English translation. Please don't beat me up. I'm coming home, okay? And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Oh, no. Why would your brother bring 400 men with him? I don't know. When you have cheated or robbed or done wrong to someone, you don't want to meet them. You don't want to talk to them. You avoid them. You don't answer their letters. You don't answer their phone calls. That's an admission you're wrong. It's Psychology 101. I must be wrong. So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. And he divided the people that was with him and the flocks and the herds and the camels into 2 bands. But if you will not do so, it says, in the book of Numbers, be sure your sin will find you out. See, when people have done wrong, they always are worried it's going to catch up with them. Is that my phone, Dipper?
No, that's David.
Oh, David's phone, okay.
Dave.
Trying to get it turned down. So
Turned down, okay. Hammer. Be sure your sin will find you out. This is what people who've done wrong don't want to happen. They try to avoid this. The Bible says the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the good and evil. God sees it all. Matthew 12. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. If you've done wrong, you're always worried it's going to catch up with you, and it will. The Bible says the way of the transgressors is hard. When you live a sinful life and you cheat people or steal from people or lie to people, you're always worried it's going to catch up with you. And sure enough, the way of the transgressors is hard. In Revelation 20, he said he saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. If you were judged out of everything written in the books according to all your works for your lifetime so far, every word you've ever said, every thought you ever thunk, and every deed you ever did, that might be kind of a scary day. I'm glad my book's erased. To praise God for that. Man. In Daniel, it says, a fiery stream issued forth and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000. That's 100 million. Stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. Judgment day coming up. And so this is judgment day for Jacob. He has tricked his brother a couple of times. He lied to his dad. Lied to his own dad. Took off, got married, 4 wives, and they're all fighting with each other. He's got a royally messed up family. Wait till you see how the kids turn out. Okay, it's amazing to study this family. And the books are going to be open. God's got it all written down. In Proverbs it says, I will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you. Proverbs is the book of wisdom from Solomon. It says a fool that just goes on in his folly is going to get clobbered. You're driving on the highway and you can just tell somebody driving down the road with you, that guy's about to get in a wreck. He's about to mess up. You can see some things coming. Like when you text and drive, Lady Di.
Tie your tie while you're driving.
Tie your tie while you drive. I make phone calls while you drive. I would never lie about doing that. I do it, yes. Okay. And he said, if Esau come to the one company and smited, then the other company which is left shall escape. He's got it all schemed out in his mind. I'm going to divide my family up and send them, each mother with their kids and some sheep, to give it as a gift to my brother. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, there's 400 men coming to meet me. Oh God, please help me. Isn't it something we pray a lot more when things are going wrong? Jonah prayed to the Lord out of the belly of the fish. He could have prayed out of the bottom of the boat, but no, he waited till he's in the water. Then he prayed. Okay, we do that too, by the way. O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saidst unto me, return to thy country. Lord, you told me to return, and I will deal well with thee. Sometimes it's good to hold God to his promises. God, you promised everything will work together for good to them that love God, to them that are the called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. I am not worthy of the least of all thy mercies, and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. Hey, how much truth has God showed to you? We live in America. We have incredible access to truth and knowledge. How much truth are they able to get in North Korea right now? Probably not much. Do you think they show my seminars on creation over there in North Korea? Probably not.
Rich just said they're going to outlaw religion in Vietnam.
Outlaw religion in Vietnam. I haven't heard that.
Said.
Wow. Communist countries have to squelch religion because it goes directly against communism. If there's a God, he tells us right from wrong, not government. And communism is based on the philosophy that government tells us what's right and wrong. That's my DVD number 5, which is the one they put me in prison for. When they came and raided us, they said, get every DVD number 5 you can find. It's still in the series. You can get it. Okay. He said, of all the truth which thou hast showed to thy servant, for with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. He divided his family up. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him. Lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea. He's holding God to his promise. Lord, I'm afraid of my brother, but Lord, you promised I'd have, descendants like the sand. Of course, he's probably thinking, I got the kids already. Esau could kill me and this promise could still be good. Right? His kids will grow up. When you know you're in the wrong, you've done wrong to somebody, you don't want to meet them. You don't want to talk to the one who points out you're wrong. I have atheists go nuts when they should see the anti-Hovind websites. One of them just the other day said, wouldn't you like to just walk up and smack him? Come on. You know there's a God and your evolution religion is dumb. Capital D. Dumb. Real dumb. And if you believe you came from a rock, we're here to help. That's what we're for. So just relax, calm down, take a breath, take a pill, and we'll help you, okay? But they hate me because they hated Jesus because he just pointed out their sin, that's all. They hated all the prophets in the Bible. I mean, read what happened to Jeremiah. Or, most of them, Ezekiel, Daniel. They hate people who just simply tell the truth. In Mark chapter 3, Jesus entered again into the synagogue. And there was a man there which had the withered hand. And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him. Why are they watching him? To see how wonderful he is doing these miracles, to listen to how great teaching he has, to learn from him and get closer to God? No. They're only looking for him to break one of their dumb rules. That's all they're looking for. And there are people that watch my YouTube, and some of you are watching it right now, and you're thinking, I got to catch Hovind in something. What can I catch him in? They'll overlook 1,000 good things I say and pick out one little detail, like the stupid ink pen story, NASA didn't spend $1 million on the ink pen. Okay, somebody else spent $1 million on the ink pen. Come on, is that the best you can do? Here you got lies like crazy in your own textbook. They don't see those at all. Anyway, they wanted to accuse him. This is in Mark 3. And he said unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth. And he said to them, which would be the Pharisees, bad guys, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days? To do evil, to save life, or to kill? But they held their peace. They did what? They didn't answer. He asked them a simple question. And they didn't answer. Why didn't they answer? Whenever somebody won't answer your simple questions, you know something deep-seated is wrong in the heart. Just answer the question. I get this happen to me all the time. And when he looked round about upon them with anger, he looked round about on them with anger. There aren't very many times where it records Jesus getting angry. But he got angry when they wouldn't answer his question. Hey guys, is it okay to do good on the Sabbath? He can see what's going on in their mind. They're thinking we have to stop this guy somehow. He looked round about with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts. These people have hardened their heart. You cannot talk to them. You cannot reason with them. How many atheist revolutionists have hardened their heart? 3 times in Romans chapter 1 it says God gives up on certain people. He gives up and makes them believe something so dumb. They believe they came from a rock. I mean, it boggles my mind. Otherwise, intelligent people, people that, would have a high IQ if they tested a normal IQ test, but in common sense, they are completely lacking. You didn't come from a rock. No fossils count as evidence for evolution. Watch my video number 4, Lies in the Textbooks, if you want to. Yeah, bottom of the stack, of course. Lies in the text. We got some of these left?
Yep.
Yeah, 10 of them for $30 and give them out to every evolutionist you know. If they won't watch it, pay them $500 to watch it. That'll get their attention. Okay. He looked round about in anger, being grieved for the hardness of their heart. He saith unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out. His hand was restored, whole as the other. He healed a guy on the Sabbath day. The guy's had a withered hand all of his life. And Jesus healed him. Now, he just got done asking him, is it okay to do good on the Sabbath? And they wouldn't answer. They didn't want to answer because they know it is okay to do good on the Sabbath. But they're not looking to get reconciliation with Jesus. They're looking to get rid of this guy. And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him. This is like the Democrats and the Republicans getting together. This is why there have been 50 people, holistic doctors, who recommend you don't get vaccines, 50 of them killed in the last year. Yeah, it's a war against people that go against their profit-making scheme. Go to childhoodshots.com to get more on that. 50 of them killed. Anyway, and he lodged there that same night, back to Genesis 32, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams. The Bible says in Proverbs, a gift in secret pacifieth anger. Now, Jacob would not have known about this verse because it was written, 1,000 years after he lived. But it's still true today. Sometimes you got to give somebody a gift to get them off your back. Okay? Please, I'm sorry, leave me alone. And a reward in the bosom, strong wrath. He gave him 30 milk camels with their colts and 40 kine and 10 bulls and 20 she-asses. Gave him a whole bunch of stuff. And he divided them up into droves, herds of groups of these things. So the camels are going to go together and then the sheep. And he said to his servants, pass over before me and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, whose art thou? And whither goest thou? And whose are those before thee? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's, it is a present, sent to my lord Esau. Oh, and behold, he is behind us. Now Jacob is a trickster extraordinaire, but he knows he's going to really be in trouble with his brother and 400 men with him. I've got to appease his anger somehow. So he keeps sending these gifts, sends another gift, send another gift, send another gift. And so commanded he the second and the third and all that follow the drove, saying, on this manner shall ye speak to Esau when ye find him. And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me. This is why men bring roses home to their wife after they've had a fight. Here, honey. You guys got to learn this lesson, okay? And afterward I will see his face, peradventure he will accept me. So went the present over before him, and he himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. Now Jabbok is this little creek right here. There's pictures of it. It's not real big. He passed over this brook. And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. Have you ever done that? Have you ever felt like you really got a big decision to make and it's just really weighing, and you just feel like you wrestle all night? Man, I've been there a bunch of times. Wrestled with a man till the breaking of day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. This would be the angel, whoever it was, touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, and as he wrestled with him, his legs out of the socket. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. This is the angel saying, let me go. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? He said, Jacob, which means trickster. Let's just be honest, bud. Who are you? I'm a sneak, I'm a scoundrel, I'm a scum, I'm a trickster. You might as well just be honest, okay? Admit it. That's the first step toward breaking any bad habit. Just admit it. I got a bad habit, whatever it is, okay? Just come clean. Who are you? I'm Jacob. He said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. Israel means prince with God. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. He probably just wrestled with a theophany, a pre-appearance of Jesus Christ. God became a man several times before he became a man in Bethlehem. I think many people think he did wrestle with God himself. I don't know. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Now, this is one of the reasons people argue that it really was God, because he said, I've seen God. Other people say, well, he didn't know who he was wrestling with, so I don't think you could prove from that verse that it was God, but it probably was. Okay. And as he passed over Penuel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. He limped. He's crippled. Therefore the children of Israel eat not the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh. When they butcher a piece of meat, they cut off that tendon. We're not going to eat that. To this day, is what I've heard. That's their kosher meals. Can't have that tendon, that sinew in there. Because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. You know, after Jacob wrestled with God, his walk was noticeably different. Simple sermon in that one. When you get done wrestling with God, everybody around you ought to notice something's different about your walk. Something is different. Do your old friends notice anything different about you? If not, you haven't wrestled with God yet. You'll be different. When he gets done with you, he will change your walk. Simple lesson from Genesis chapter 32. If you got a problem in your life, something you can't overcome, maybe you need to get alone and wrestle with God all night and say, God, what should I do? If you're in the wrong, you should say, God, I'm sorry. Forgive me. These guys and Jesus, when we're dealing with Jesus, they could not say, Jesus, you're right. It's okay to heal on the Sabbath. They wanted to kill him. They were looking for an excuse. Wouldn't have mattered what he said. Remember when Moses went out to break up the two guys that are fighting? Moses saw the two Jews fighting each other. And it says the one that was in the wrong said, who made you a judge over us? The one that's in the wrong is the one that will not want to see you if you bring up anything that reminds them, hey, you did wrong. How many times I've been stabbed in the back, Lady Di? I have people that we're close friends, won't call me, won't talk to me, won't text me. What did I do? Took a bath last month and everything. I mean, come on, call me. Maybe 2 months ago. Get right with God. It's very simple. First, admit who you are. Jacob, who are you? I'm Jacob. I'm a trickster. If you're wrong, admit it. Say, Lord, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. And then fix it. Just fix it. It's not complicated. It's really that simple.